No. 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 Definitely not. Perfect. Wait. Hi guys, how are ya? So, I've had a pretty strange week. I met quite a few famous people. I say famous people because a few of them you'll know and a few of them you won't know, and the ones that you won't know are weird, kind of well known. Started off a few days ago. Marcus Mumford from Mumford & Sons and his wife Carey Mulligan, who's an actress about to play Daisy in The Great Gatsby, which I'm so excited about. Oh my god. Came into my work. They were super, super, super sweet and lovely. They came in and I saw Carey and I was like, is it? Is it not? Is it? Is it? And I told my friend and she didn't believe me, so we looked up on Wikipedia. Please don't get in trouble for using Wikipedia at work. And it was her. And we scrolled down to personal life and it said they got married. Oh my god. So we never, and I told both of them I loved them, and that the new Great Gatsby trailer made me cry, which it did, and they were both so sweet, and I almost think I freaked them out a little bit, so I left them kind of to it. I realised I was probably fangirling a bit too much, but sometimes we played Mumford & Sons at work, and I was super, super, super hoping Mumford & Sons would come on, but it didn't. I also told them that his music makes me cry, and they were like, oh, what about Lana Del Rey? And I was like, oh, of course, like, who doesn't cry to Lana Del Rey? Right, yes. It was a pretty intense time, and they were just lovely, and afterwards I was like, oh, like I probably made a fool of myself, but I love them both so much, and I'm gonna go to the premiere now and give them hand warmers. I kind of did realise though that I was probably being like a bit too over enthusiastic, like like I'll give you discounts, what do you want? And I was like, when does fangirling become too much fangirling, and when does this become from nice to creepy? And I'm probably making them really awkward, and they had kind of like hats and stuff on, so they probably didn't even want to be recognised, but I went there anyway. Another thing was the actor who played that crazy Luke guy in like the third generation of Skins was in line at the post office with me the other day. We didn't talk, but I smiled at him and he smiled at me, and we knew what was going on. I was like, I know who you are. I know, yeah. He's shorter than I thought he would be. So they were like the famous people, and then I met some famous people who are YouTubers, and this is even harder to talk about because being famous on YouTube is like a thing now, but lots of people don't kind of get it. Like, lots of people still aren't aware of a YouTube community. Lots of people don't spend the same amount of time on the internet as I do. But there's two YouTubers, one's called Amazing Phil and the other's Dana's Not on Fire, and they have like a BBC radio show. And I knew there was kind of this thing where girls would go and stand outside the BBC and be like, hi, and I was like, oh, like maybe I'll do that. I probably won't. And then a friend of mine was like, no, we went a couple of weeks ago and it was actually really lovely and they were really sweet. And I was like, okay. So in the freezing, freezing London weather, which is just still horrible and raining outside, we went down and we met them at like 9:30 at night, and I was shivering, I was so cold. And they only had 2 shirts on, so I was really scared that they were going to be like freezing to death because I had 4 layers and I was, it was horrible. But they were really sweet and lovely, and I was like, oh, I came all the way from New Zealand, and they were like, what? Which isn't actually technically true, like I didn't come all the way from New Zealand just for them, but whatever. And Dan's like, oh, I've been there, and I was like, what? What? And he's like, yeah, I've been to Dunedin, and I was like, that's a shithole, but whatever. He seemed to think it was a nice place. And it was just like the weirdest thing, because there's them, and there's the guy from Skins, and there's Carey and Marcus, haha, I know them by their first names, friends. And then like a month ago, I met Finn Harries, which is like the twin of Jack Harries, who does a YouTube channel, Jack Scat. He came into my shop as well. And we had Emily Blunt in once, and it's the weirdest thing being 19 but brought up in New Zealand, because you'll see someone from like, oh my god, like Shortland Street on the street, it's like, whoa, and then I'm meeting these actual people that are kind of well known and like go to award shows and have awards in big blockbuster movies, and they're literally just like me and you, and it was weird. It was so strange, and I signed them up to Summit Club. Oh man. I don't know if I'd ever want to be famous, really. Oh. Sirens, ambulance. Oh, I hope someone's being born, not being killed. Oh. It must be weird, just constantly to have people recognise you. I mean, I like a bit of centre of attention, everyone knows this, but felt so bad afterwards. Like after each encounter, I was like, oh, I just made a complete fool of myself, and they probably hate me now. But I'm still gonna go to the Great Gatsby premiere. That's basically all that happened to me this week. I got Twitter back, so I'll link that in the description, and you can watch that. I'm going up north, up to Hull this weekend to see some family, which will be nice because I miss my family, and hopefully it's actual weather up there, either freezing or either hot, not London, which is just changing its mind 3 times daily. Cool. Bye guys.